Welcome back to Four Faces. Let's talk about what's happening up in this world, man. Listen, you know what's happening with Israel and Palestine's. You know what's happening in a part of that world. You see what happened, the crime and oh my gosh, the killings happen over there. So let's talk about Israel military. A lot of us know and should know that Israel have one of the strongest militaries in the world, especially on that side of the world. They're labeled as number 18 in the entire world as far as military is concerned.
Israel has to deter its adversaries. Although Israel is a rather small and young country, it has a powerful potential. Tanks, airplanes, ships, submarines, and most importantly, people are the foundations of Israeli security. As of 2023, Israel is confidently among the top 20 strongest armies in the world, which is an incredible result for such a small country. So let's talk in more detail about what the Israeli armed forces consist of and what makes Israel such a strong player in the military sphere. The largest branch of the Israeli army is the ground forces, which include infantry, armored forces, artillery, engineers, field intelligence, as well as communications, logistics, and technical support troops. The main tank in Israel, by the way, is a homegrown Merkava Mk4, which is amazing how such a small country can produce its own heavy armored vehicles while constantly being in some kind of conflict. The ground forces have a total of 133,000 conscripts and extended service personnel, as well as 380,000 reservists. In total, Israel is home to more than 9.5 million people. The Israeli Air Force is one of the most experienced in the world, with approximately 595 aircraft, including 252 fighter jets, 252 attack aircraft, 49 transport aircraft, 131 trainers, and 143 special aircraft. Israel's military fleet consists mainly of F-15s and F-16s, which is already quite good. But the country is also rearmed with the latest F-35s, which will increase its power many times over. The last on the list is the Israeli Navy. It is relatively small, but modern and effective, with approximately 65 ships, including 5 submarines, 3 corvettes, 45 coastal patrol boats, and 12 naval minesweepers. The Navy also operates several amphibious command units for special operations. Now that we have a rough idea of what the Israeli armed forces are, a logical question arises. How did a country that is just over 70 years old, located in the desert, surrounded by enemies, get all the latest military technology? The answer is simple. Israel relies only on itself. From the very beginning of its existence, the country began to actively engage in technological research activities, driven by the demand for its own security. Of course, later there was considerable assistance from other countries, but the very beginning.
So Israel military is very strong. But here it is, we got all these deaths occurring in Gaza. We have all these deaths of the Palestinians. And as you know that there's all this, there's protesting going around, not here, just not one country like America or over in Europe, but it's all around the world. Because people are just tired of nonsense. They're tired of the killing. And it's not, let's just get something clear. It's not about, everybody wants to support Hamas. No, nobody supports Hamas and what they did. That's not the issue. The issue is this. Being that you have one of the top militaries in the world, we're talking about Israel. They have F-16 fighters. They have submarines. They have boats. They have cruise ships. They are loaded with all types of missiles. And they have a military force of over 100,000. They got 500,000 people on reserve. You get my point. They have some of the best intelligence in the world. And what are we saying? Why can't you tailor, here's the key word, why don't you tailor your operations to only afflict harm on those who hurt your people? That's all. That's what people are asking. That's what the UN is asking you. But you're not doing that because why? You got innocent kids dying. Matter of fact, it's so bad, and a lot of people want to talk about this, but it's so bad. Did you know that there are American Palestinians that got killed? Nobody's talking about that. Why? Because nobody want to offend nobody. But let's tell the truth. You got Red Cross workers that got killed. You got journalism that got killed. You got their own people. Remember when they came out, the hostages, they escaped. They had the white flag and they had on their shirt. Remember that? And what did Israel do? They shot down, they killed, they murdered their own people. Where's the protest in Israel about that? Why ain't Israel people protesting that? Yes. Well, Hamas did. No one's disputing that. But what you're doing is worse. You're taking textbook ideals from guess who? Who in World War II sat and starved people? Hitler did that. Who in World War II sat there and tried to exterminate, a group of people? Hitler did that. Right now, what's happening now? What is happening right now? Israel, is basically, I want to blame the prime minister, is sitting there, it seems to be intentionally starving people. And then he covers it up and said, oh, well, Hamas. Hamas is not doing that. You are doing that because you have the capabilities. I can't say this enough. You have one of the powerfulest military forces in that side of the region. Do you remember in the 60s, when Israel fought 3 countries at the same time, simultaneously? Did we forget that? Right? Did we forget all the other fights that they had to go, all the other battles? Did we forget that? Answer is no, we didn't forget it. So we should not be forgetting that now. We need to do something. And what needs to be done is very simple. Israel needs to, first of all, change up who their prime minister is. They seem like he have no heart at all, no compassion.
Newly released aerial footage shows deadly explosions pulverizing buildings in Gaza. The Israel Defense Forces taking credit for striking more than 60 targets in the Gaza Strip and carrying out a raid at the city's main hospital where thousands of civilians took shelter. According to a citizen, tanks and armored bulldozers plowed through the hospital, crushing ambulances, cars, and dead bodies. The war triggered by a Hamas attack in October, now in the 6th month. The Gaza Health Ministry says the war has claimed at least 32,000 Palestinian lives. Women and children make up about 2/3 of the dead. Over the weekend, the UN Secretary General visited a hospital in Egypt where Gazans are being treated and called for an immediate ceasefire.
People around the world are outraged by the horrors we are all witnessing in real time. I carry the voices of the vast majority of the world. We have seen enough. We have had enough.
And that's a bad thing, especially when the international community say, listen, okay, we understand we'll get Hamas, but why don't you tailor your operation to getting Hamas? Instead, what's happening? They got journalists, sitting outside with butt naked. That's what they got. They got them out there naked. They rolling over bodies with tanks. They rolling over people that passed away and with tanks. No type of concern whatsoever. So now, instead of the world uniting around Israel, they're like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Where's humanity in this? And listen, America always saying China should curb North Korea, right? I'm like, just tell me if I'm lying or not. Look it up yourself. America always say, oh, China, you need to curb North Korea's actions. You need to do this A, B, C, D. Well, guess what? America, Europe, you need to curb Israel's actions the same way because they are out of control. Keep in mind, they killed their own hostages. Like, yo, I don't know how bad this can get. Like, they're killing their own hostages, and then they want to blame Hamas. Like, that don't make no sense. If Hamas killed them, yeah, it's one thing. But here's the thing, I keep saying over and over, I can't say enough. Israel intelligence is second to none. Why don't they use that intelligence and go target people? Do you know why? Because they're fighting out of anger. They're not fighting, they're fighting out of anger. They're fighting out of political will, political party, money, you name it. It's the wrong reasons. So we can't no one should be looking at a country whether it's America, Europe, Asia, doesn't matter. Any country that sit and kill innocent people, you should not be supporting that government. You should not. And here on Four Faces, this is the way we feel about this. So we all know what's happening, right? So now everybody know about them trying to bring food in there. And what Israel's saying, no, you can't do it. We're not allowing no trucks to come in, which, by the way, is one of the fastest ways to get food in there, right? You can't drop food from an airplane all the time, because we've seen what happened with that, right? They're dropping food off the plane, and what happened? People are getting killed, right? Some of the packages, and let me tell you something, those packages are falling from hundreds and hundreds of feet from the sky. You drop a penny on someone from 100 feet from the sky, it's going to kill them. A penny, right? So imagine dropping a whole crate full of food, right? And then some of the food fell in the ocean. And guess what? People had to go and try to get the food from the ocean. But in the process of doing that, they drowned. I mean, you got to think about this. This is not, some people, especially on the other side of the world, some different people are saying, blame Hamas. You can't blame Hamas what Israel's doing. That's like saying, well, someone tried to attack me, I start shooting, and oh my gosh, as I start shooting the person who attacked me, I killed 3 or 4 kids along the way. Oh, it ain't my fault. Blame them for that. No, you didn't know how to target your gun better, right? You didn't know how to shoot properly. No, yes, the person initiated the fight, but you don't want to take no blame. You get what I'm saying? You got to take some blame too. You can't just blame the next man and say, well, it ain't got nothing to do with me, especially when you got over 30,000 kids dying. You can't just blame the next person. You got to take responsibility. You got to. Whether whoever started it was wrong, yes, Hamas started it was wrong, but guess what? You're contributing to it. And then people are looking at this around the world, all these protests going on around the world, and what's happening? You're losing support. But let me tell you something. This last thing I'm going to say here at Four Faces. Subscribe. Leave your comment below and subscribe. We got a video we want you to check out as well, right? We got some videos we want to have you check out. But let me end it like this. Keep in mind, this will not go unanswered. Anybody have any type of faith, anybody have any type of religious faith, I don't care if you're Muslim, Baptist, Protestant, whatever it is, Catholic, doesn't matter. You know, deep down inside, and I'm telling you now, this will not go unpunished. God is not going to look at this moment and be like, oh, okay, 30,000 kids die. All right, have a good day. No, there are things happening as we speak. And mark my words, there are things happening as we speak that you don't probably know. And I'm talking about on a higher level, that this will not go unanswered. This will not. And I guarantee you that it's not. Because you cannot kill innocents and think that everything's going to be right. Even if Israel sit there and remove every single Hamas leader, which, by the way, Hamas is not just an organization, it's a movement, right? Because you just killed like the whole family. I don't think they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I love Israel. No, that ain't going to happen, right? The thing is going to be something's going to come back. It's like a boomerang effect, right? It's a boomerang effect. This will not go unanswered. And I ain't talking just from other countries or anything like that. I'm talking about from a standpoint of from what God sees it as. This is no good. You can't expect to do bad things and kill babies and children and then like, okay, well, we still going to keep fighting. We still going to keep blowing up buildings. Meanwhile, you have one of the best military. Israel is supposed to have one of the best militaries on that side of the world. 18 in place in the whole entire world. One of the best intelligence agents. And you can't do a better job? You mean tell me, no, you choose not to do a better job. And that's my whole point here. You're choosing not to. Or you're rushing to. Or whatever it is your intentions are. It's horrible. Just like it was horrible after World War II and during World War II. when the Jews went through what they went through. That was horrible too. You seen pictures of babies with skeleton bones. Guess what? We see the same thing now with the Palestinians. We see the exact same thing. You've seen the pictures. It's the exact same thing. Kids barely alive. Kids bony, not eating, malnutrition. This is no good. And unfortunately, it's going to be time to pay up. And I just hope, God willing, it's done merciful. With that being said, this is Four Faces. We'll talk.